السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته يا شيخ.
أبا عبد الرحمن كيف الحال؟
الحمد لله يا شيخ.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أما بعد. In the last class on our book, Seerah A'ishah radiyallahu anha al-Mu'minin, we are reading from the book Siyar A'alām An-Nubala by Imām Adh-Dhahabi rahimahullah. Imām Adh-Dhahabi has told us and arranged in this book various matters regarding our mother al-Mu'minin Āishah radiyallahu anha, and we are on page 176. The last discourse was about the statement from Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu regarding Āishah. That occurs on page 176, the last paragraph, where Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, rahimahullah, Ziyad ibn Ayyub, حدثنا مصعب ibn Salam, حدثنا محمد بن سلطان عن عاصم بن كليب عن أبيه قال انتهينا إلى علي رضي الله عنه فذكر عائشة فقال خليلة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. It was a report from Kulayb, the father of Asim. It was a report from Asim ibn Kulayb. Asim ibn Kulayb was well known from amongst the scholars of Hadith. He reported from his father Kulayb ibn Shihab, Abu Asim. Asim ibn Kulayb reported from his father Kulayb ibn Asim that intahayna Kulayb ibn Shihab, Abu Asim. He said intahayna ila Ali radiyallahu anhu. We arrived at the place where Ali was radiyallahu anhu. فذكر عائشة. Ali ibn Abi Talib mentioned Āishah al-Mu'minin radiyallahu anha. فقال, and then Ali ibn Abi Talib said, Khalilatu Rasulillah. Khalila, the status of Khulla we had mentioned in the last class, is far higher than the status of Mahabba, the intensity of love between two persons. We will say Habibi, and we know Habib is for the masculine. You can also say Habib regarding a woman, because that wasn't fa'il. It can be muzakkar and it can be mu'annath. So if you say Habib and you refer to a woman, you have not heard at all. So, radiyallahu anha, here, Khalil, if a person is Khalil, the love is far, far deeper and more intense than merely saying Habib. Khalil, the scholars say it is as if that love, تخللت المحبة. This love penetrated the entirety of the body of the person. That is why such persons are referred to as Khalil. It has a deeper sense of meaning than that word Habib. Here, Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu, he mentioned Āishah radiyallahu anha and said, Khalilatu Rasulillah, she is the Khalila the most deeply beloved wife of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So as we mentioned in the last class, she used to be called Siddiqa radiyallahu anha. Her father called her Mubaraka radiyallahu anha. Ali ibn Abi Talib called her Khalila radiyallahu anha. So all these are nicknames for our mother Āishah radiyallahu anha. Immediately after that, on page 177, Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, rahimahullah, هذا حديث حسن. This hadith that Ali ibn Abi Talib referred to Āishah as Khalilatu Rasulillah. Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said this hadith is Hasan. ومصعب فصالح لا بأس به. As for Mus'ab ibn Salam at-Tamimi, he said, فصالح, is a righteous person. His hadith are okay, inshallah. La ba'sa bihi. There is no blame in him, meaning that his hadith are acceptable. Who is that? Mus'ab ibn Salam. Then Adh-Dhahabi said, وَهَذَا يقوله أمير المؤمنين. He said, وَهَذَا يقوله أمير المؤمنين في حق عائشة رضي الله عنها مع ما وقع بينهما. Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, this kind of a statement is still being made by Ali ibn Abi Talib regarding Āishah radiyallahu anha مع ما وقع بينهما, despite the matters that arose in between the two of them. We recall the first matter that arose between the two of them was during Al-Ifk, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Ali ibn Abi Talib about his views regarding the incidents with Āishah radiyallahu anha. And Āishah said, وأما علي فقال يا رسول الله لم يضيق الله عليك والنساء سواها كثير. O Messenger of Allah, لم يضيق الله عليك. Allah has not restricted you. Allah has not placed you under any restrictions. والنساء مثلها كثير. And there are a lot of women. So you can marry just like Āishah. You can marry another woman apart from Āishah if this one will bring you this kind of a worry. And Ibn Abi Talib was just trying to calm the worries that were clear to the Prophet on that occasion of evil accusation regarding his beloved wife Āishah. He wanted to tell him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, radiyallahu anhu, Ali ibn Abi Talib wanted to tell the Messenger alayhi salatu wasalam something tasliyatan, something that will calm him. But that same thing was displeasing to Āishah. So Āishah did not like it. Radiyallahu anha. That was the first thing between the two of them. The second thing between the two of them is what Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi will still tell us here now. So he said, وَهَذَا يَقُولُهُ أَمِيرُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ فِي حَقِّ عَائِشَةَ مَعَ مَا وَقَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا. Ali ibn Abi Talib is still saying that Āishah is Khalilatu Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam مَعَ مَا وَقَعَ بَيْنَهُمَا, despite what had happened between the two of them. We had mentioned the first of them. The first of them was the statement of Ali ibn Abi Talib during Hadithatul Ifk. فَرَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمَا. The Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, may Allah be pleased with Āishah radiyallahu anha, may Allah be pleased with Ali ibn Abi Talib. وَلَا رَيْبَ أَنَّ عَائِشَةَ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهَا نَدِمَتْ نَدَامَةً كُلِّيَّةً عَلَى مَسِيرِهَا إِلَى الْبَصْرَةِ وَحُضُورِهَا يَوْمَ الْجَمَلِ. وَلَا رَيْبَ. Imam Adh-Dhahabi said, La raib. there is no doubt that Anna A'ishah radiyallahu anha, that our mother A'ishah, nadimat nadamatan kulliyatan, was absolutely sorry. She felt otherwise. She regretted radiyallahu anha ala masiriha ila al-Basra wa huduriha yawm al-Jamal. She regretted masiriha. She regretted her traveling to al-Basra wa huduriha yawm al-Jamal, and her presence in Basra on the day of the Battle of the Jamal. That battle, it was actually a skirmish, because that skirmish happened between Salatul Fajr, between two groups of Muslims. One of the group was led by Zubair and Talha, Zubair ibn Awwam, the husband of Asma, and Talha ibn Ubaidillah radiyallahu anhuma, two eminent companions of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and they had with them Āishah. So that skirmish was called, that day of the skirmish was called Yawm al-Jamal, because our mother Āishah was riding on a Jamal, was riding on a camel. So the skirmish was named over that camel because everybody noticed it. And she actually came radiallahu anha to be sure that there was no crisis. But it ended up becoming a crisis. Āishah radiallahu anha came to be sure that there was no crisis. She came all the way from Mecca to Basra, all the way, to be sure that there was no crisis. That at least when the people saw her on the mount, on the camel, on the Jamal, they would calm down. But unfortunately, as Allah had preordained it, there was actually a skirmish between that group that had Zubair ibn Awwam, that had Talha ibn Ubaidillah, that had Āishah radiyallahu anha, and some others amongst the Tabi'un. There was a clash between them and a group that was raised by Ali ibn Abi Talib, who came all the way from Medina to Kufa. They came from Mecca to Basra. Ali ibn Abi Talib came from Medina to Kufa. And I think it's appropriate that I mentioned that was how the Khilafah moved away from Medina. The first time Khilafah, the Caliphacy, was leaving Medina was when Ali ibn Abi Talib left Medina towards Kufa after he heard that Zubair ibn Awwam and Talha ibn Ubaidillah were with Āishah and they were towards Basra. And as we said in the last class, what was Āishah radiallahu anha going with them to do at Basra? Their group, Āishah, that was with the group of Zubair and Talha, were of the view that those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman, they should be apprehended, they should be searched for. The bulk of them were in Basra and Kufa. But Ali ibn Abi Talib in Medina, who had been given the oath of allegiance as the Khalifa after Uthman bin Affan, upon the consensus of the companions radiallahu anhum, including Āishah radiallahu anha, including Zubayr, including Talha radiallahu anhu, Ali ibn Abi Talib was of the view that let us allow the city, the region to calm down. Then we can selectively pick out those who were responsible. But on the other hand, Āishah and others were of the view that no, let us do it now. Ali ibn Abi Talib was of the view that we will do it, but let us allow the city to calm down now. This was the issue between the two groups. Let us do it now. No, let us wait until everywhere was calm, because the death of Uthman bin Affan brought about a turmoil in the Ummah. So Ali ibn Abi Talib, let us allow the city to calm down, was his view. But as for Talha and Ubaidullah and Talha and Zubayr ibn Awwam, Talha ibn Ubaydillah and Zubayr ibn Awwam, they were of the view that it must be done now. That was also the view of our mother Āishah. But she went with them so that when the people see her, they will calm down and know that it was not about a war. It was about searching for a group of people. Unfortunately, a skirmish happened. Also by those that they were looking for. Those they were looking for were responsible for the killing on the sides of Āishah and Zubayr. They were responsible for the killings on the sides of Ali ibn Abi Talib to make it seem as if both sides attacked one another. The companions were really, really sad about this. Both Āishah, both Zubayr ibn Awwam, both Talha ibn Ubaydillah, and Ali ibn Abi Talib, and many of the companions, Ammar ibn Yasir, Imran ibn Hussein, all the companions who were alive at the time who witnessed this event, there was no one of them who did not feel uncomfortable after the event. It was something that happened that they all hated that it ever happened at all. Radiyallahu anhum. Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, rahimahullah, وَلَا رَيْبَ أَنَّ عَائِشَةَ نَدِمَتْ نَدَامَةً كُلِّيَّةً عَلَى مَسِيرِهَا إِلَى الْبَصْرَةِ. There is no doubt that Āishah completely regretted over her journey to Basra, وَحُضُورِهَا يَوْمَ الْجَمَلِ, and her presence on that day when the skirmish happened. That is called يَوْمُ الْجَمَلِ. وَمَا ظَنَّتْ أَنَّ الْأَمْرَ يَبْلُغُ مَا بَلَغَ. مَا ظَنَّتْ Āishah radiyallahu anha never imagined that the matter would reach what it finally became. فعن أمارة ابن عمير أما سمع عائشة رضي الله عنها. This is not, as we mentioned in the last class, ظاهره الانقطاع, because it said من سمع عائشة. Who is that? من هذا الذي سمع عائشة رضي الله؟ هو مبهم لم يذكر. So it's mubham. So this surah is surah, the apparent thing about this isnad is that it has inqita, but it has something worse than inqita because it is from the riwayah of Muhammad ibn Umar al-Waqidi, who is known to be a fabricator of narrations. This very report is not authentic. That what? That إِذَا قَرَأَتْ وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, that whenever Aisha radiyallahu anha read that verse, that Allah said, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, O you wives of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the rest of the Muslim women, قَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, all of you, stay put in your homes. That whenever this verse was read, بَكَتْ حَتَّى تَبُلَّ خِمَارُهَا, بَكَتْ حَتَّى تَبُلَّ خِمَارُهَا, she would cry until the khimar she wore became wet out of weeping. But this asar, like we said, is not authentic. So you understand? Yes, she regretted her going out. There are other reports that showed that she really regretted, like what Al-Imām Al-Zayla'i mentioned, rahimahullah, regarding Āishah and Abdullah ibn Umar. That Āishah radiyallahu anha said to Abdullah ibn Umar, Ya Aba Abdurrahman, ما منعك أن تنهاني عن مسيري? What prevented you from preventing me from going? Why did you not prevent me from going? Ibn Umar. Āishah asked her, radiyallahu anhuma, قال, Ibn Umar said, رأيت رجلا غلب عليك. I saw someone who overwhelmed you, who overpowered you. He meant Abdullah ibn Zubayr. Abdullah ibn Zubayr was present. He wanted Āishah to go. And we know Aisha's love for Abdullah ibn Zubayr, who is the son of her sister Asma. So Ibn Umar noticed that Ibn Zubayr was pressing her to go. So he left her. Radiyallahu anhum. So Ibn Umar said, Radiyallahu anhu, رَأَيْتُ رَجُلًا غَلَبَ عَلَيْكِ. I saw someone who was overpressing you, overwhelming you, telling you, go, go, go. radiallahu anhu. فقالت, then Aisha said, Wallahi, لو نهيتني ما خرجت. I swear by Allah, if you, Ibn Umar, if you had prevented me, if you had said I should not go, ما خرجت, I would not have gone. So this meant that she actually felt bad that she went for that incident at Al-Basra, as it finally became. There are other reports. Al-Imam Hakim in Al-Mustadrak said, reported with his isnad, that Aisha radiyallahu anha said, وَدِدْتُ أَنِّي لَمْ أَسِرْ مَسِيرِي مَعَ إِبْنِ زُبَيْرٍ وَدِدْتُ أَنِّي لَمْ أَسِرْ. I wished that I never went for that journey. I wish I never went. Ma'a ibn Zubayr, with Abdullah ibn Zubayr. I wish I never went. She also has a report connected by Ibn Abi Shayba in his Musannaf that وَدِدْتُ أَنِّي كُنْتُ غُصْنًا رَطْبًا. I wish that I was a particular plant that was fresh. The ghusn, like is a plant that has some prickles. It has thorns with it. I wish I was that plant. وَلَمْ أَسِرْ مَسِيرِي هَذَا. I wish I had not come on this journey. She regretted it a lot. It's well reported in the books of history that she regretted coming from Mecca to Basra, just because she felt that if people see her, they will take the matter serious and they will know that it is not about a battle. What did they want? They want to pick out those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman ibn Affan. That was what brought her to Basra, all the way from Mecca after Hajj. We remember that those who committed that evil in Medina regarding Uthman, they did it after the bulk of the companions have left Medina for Hajj. They, instead of going for Hajj, they remained in Medina for that evil. May Allah protect us. Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, قال أحمد في مسنده. Imam Ahmad in his Musnad said, حدثنا يحيى ابن القطان. Imam Yahya, that is Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Qattan, said, عن إسماعيل. Ismail is Ismail ibn Abi Khalid al-Badali, who said, حدثنا قيس ibn Abi Hazim. Qais ibn Abi Hazim was a tabi. He said, لما أقبلت عائشة, when Aisha finally left Makkah going towards Basra, فلما بلغت مياه بني عامر ليلة, when they got to the fountain of Banu Amir in the night, نبحت الكلاب, the dogs began to bark. When they got to a water point of Banu Amir in the night, the dogs began to bark. فقالت, Aisha radiyallahu anha then asked, أيما in هذا, which water point is this that we have? قالوا ماء الحوأب. They say this is ماء الحوأب. It is a water point called Al-Hawab. قالت, she then said, ما أظنني إلا أنني راجعة. I don't think I should do any other than return back. I'm returning. ما أظنني. I don't see myself except that I should return to Makkah. When she heard the barking of the dogs, and then she asked the people, where are we? They say this is Hawab, Ma'u Hawab. We are in the water point of Hawab. That is the name of the water point. Ma'u Hawab. This is where we are. She said, I'm going back. Because she remembered a statement from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when she said she was going back, قَالَ بَعْدُ مَنْ كَانَ مَعَهَا. So some of those who were with her, in other reports, it said that it was actually Zubair and Talha who told her that, Bal, you are not returning, Aisha. Taqdamin, you are proceeding. فَيَرَاكِ الْمُسْلِمُونَ, so that the Muslims will see you. فَيُصْلِحُ اللَّهُ ذَاتَ بَيْنِهِمْ, so that Allah will use you to rectify the affairs. Don't go back, A'ishah. If people see you, your presence will be a means of goodness in terms of the reconciliation amongst the Muslims. And I think this is something that many of us should take lessons from. Many times we want to come into a fracas, a disagreement between two people, thinking that the two of them, each of the parties, when they see you, they will listen. Sometimes it may not be like that. Sometimes it may not be like that. So people who will push you, they'll be telling you, don't worry, inshallah, you are well known, you are well respected. When they see you, they will respect you, they will keep quiet. It may not be like that in every circumstance. In some circumstances, yes, it comes like that. Like when Abdullah ibn Abbas came to discuss with Al-Khawarij. When he wanted to go, Ali ibn Abi Talib said, those people lack respect for elders, don't go, so that they don't disrespect you and even kill you. Ibn Abbas said, don't worry, when I get there, I know what to do. I know what I will say to them. And it was a means of goodness. When he spoke to them, many of them, over 5,000-6,000, left the group and followed Abdullah ibn Abbas. So sometimes things like that bring goodness, and sometimes it doesn't. So that was the thinking of Talha ibn Ubaydillah and Zubayr ibn Awwam. When Āishah said, radiyallahu anha, ma azunnuni illa annani raji'atun, qala ba'du man kana ma'aha, bal taqdamin, ayaraki al-muslimun, fayuslihu Allahu dhata baynihim. So they say, no, you will proceed, so that when the Muslims see you, yuslihu Allahu dhata baynihim, their interactions between them, Allah will bring rectification to it. Qalat, she said, radiyallahu anha, inna Rasulallah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam qala dhata yawm. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said on one day, كيف بإحدى كنا تنبح عليها كلاب الحوأب. How will it be regarding one of you, my wives? تنبح عليها كلاب الحوأب. The dogs of Hawab will bark against her. The Prophet had said it before he died, alayhi salam. These incidents happened in the 36th year of Hijrah. But the Prophet has said it, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, long before that, before he died. The Prophet passed away in the 10th year of Hijrah, in the 11th year of Hijrah. Something he said in the before 11th year now happened in the 36th year. Will back. Those dogs were backing. Āishah was asking, radiyallahu anha, ayyuma. It is Ma'ab. It is the water point of the people of what? Hawab. And then she said, I'm going back. Why? She had heard long ago, 25 years before perhaps, that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, that kayfa bi ihda tambuhu alayha ilabul hawab. How will it be for one of you, my wives, that the dogs of Hawab will bark against her? Radiyallahu anha. As we said earlier, this hadith was reported by Al-Imam Ahmad. Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi mentions this hadith to be sahih. Al-Imam Ibn Kathir mentions this hadith to be sahih. It is usually referred to as hadithu kilab al-hawab. It is usually referred to as the hadith of the dogs of Hawab. Some scholars say it is not sahih. That is why I am saying Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi mentions that it is sahih. Al-Hafiz ibn Hajar mentions that it is sahih. Before him, Al-Hafiz ibn Kathir in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, he mentions that it is sahih. Al-Imam Muhammad Nasir al-Albani mentions that it is sahih. Shaykh Ibrāhīm Abdur-Raūf in two places, here in Siyar A'alām An-Nubala and also in his tahqiq on Musnad Imam Ahmad, he said it is Sahih. Shaykh Ahmad Muhammad Shakir Abu Ashbah, in his own tahqiq of Musnad Ahmad also, he also mentions that this athar is Sahih. What is it? That the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had prophesied, had mentioned that regarding his wife, Kayfa bi ihda kunna, how will it be with one of you, tambuhu alayha kilabul hawab, that the dogs of Hawab will bark against her. That the Prophet made this statement, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It's an authentic hadith. Likewise, Shaykh Mukbil al-Wajil, he also mentions this hadith sahih in his book on Dala'il Nubuwah. So that is why if we come to page 178, Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi continued and said, هذا حديث صحيح الإسناد. This hadith is isnad is sahih. وَلَمْ يُخْرِجَاهُ. But Al-Bukhari and Muslim did not collect it. Yes, it is not in Sahih Bukhari. It is not in Sahih Muslim, but it is a Sahih hadith. And that a hadith is not in Bukhari and Muslim does not affect its authenticity. I hope that that is clear, inshallah. Al-Imam Adh-Dhahabi went on and said, An Salih ibn Kaysan wa ghayrihi. Salih ibn Kaysan and others reported that Anna Āishah ja'alat taqul, that Āishah radiyallahu anha continued to say that Inna Uthmana qutila mazluma. Uthman was killed unjustly. Wa ana ad'ukum ila talabi bidamihi. And I'm inviting all of you, let us go out and get those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman. Wa i'adatil amri shura. And that the affairs of the Ummah should return to as it used to be before Uthman bin Affan was killed. Let us search for them. She was really pained by the killing of Uthman that the Khawarij did. It came all the way from Kufa, from Basra, from Egypt. They gathered in Medina when the rest of the people have gone for Hajj. They laid siege in the house of Uthman for days. They did not allow food nor water to go into the house of Uthman. They took over the masjid of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They prevented Uthman bin Affan from leading Salah. All of these upon accusations of misappropriation of public property and similar other accusations against Uthman that were unfounded. The scholars say this is usually the way of the Khawarij. So that's why when we always say sit-ins, rise against authority, go and block the road of the governor, go and block the road of the president, go and block the road, this, block, don't allow the people go away. These are the people who started it. Amongst the Muslims, it was not from the Sunnah of Islam. Public demonstrations going about, we no go Greek, block this house, don't let them come out, sit in, we are on strike. All of these, they are part of protests. The first people who started it in Islam were the Khawarij. And it was the reason for the fall of what the Muslims were upon after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam left them. When the Prophet left, it was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. After the 2 years of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, it was Umar ibn al-Khattab. Then after Umar, he was stabbed or something again similar to that. Yet Umar radiallahu anhu was able to establish the Shura that brought in the government of the rulership, the caliphacy of Uthman bin Affan. Uthman bin Affan was there until insurgency started. So insurgency started and was responsible for the killing and the removal of Uthman bin Affan. Those who did that and those who do the same thing today, they have the same approach. Money is not well appropriated. This is not. It is always about appropriation of funds, appropriation of funds. So they gathered from different parts of the Muslim world in Medina. They were responsible for the death of Uthman bin Affan. Āishah radiyallahu anha Even there are reports that عنها كانت تلعن قتلة عثمان ibn Affan. Aisha used to curse those. May Allah curse those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman ibn Affan. That was a man that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam respected so much. That was a man the Prophet told us alayhi salatu wasalam, ala astahi min rajulin tastahi minhu al-malaikatu. Should I not be shy regarding a man that the angels are shy about? Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu. He was so worshipful and he was so rich. He is rich. His money was responsible for most of what the Prophet did sallallahu alayhi wa sallam after his hijrah to Medina. And then he passed away in the hands of those who were contesting authority, asking why he gave this, why did you do this, why did you give this, that. But the original intention was actually to cause a commotion in the Ummah, and the commotion actually came. May Allah protect all of us. Imām Adh-Dhahabi continued and said, Hilalun ibn Khabbab an Ikrimata an ibn Abbas annahu qala li Zubayr yawm al-Jamal. This isnad is the isnad of Hilal ibn Khabbab Abu al-Ala, who was reporting from Ikrima al-Barbari from Abdullah ibn Abbas, that Abdullah ibn Abbas told Zubayr ibn Awam Yawm al-Jamal, on the day of Jamal. I'm sure if we say Yawm al-Jamal, we know what we are talking about. The day Āishah came to Basra all the way from Makkah on her camel. She came so that when the people see her, they will calm down and know that it was not about a war. She came in the company of Zubayr ibn Awam and Talha ibn Ubaidillah and others amongst the companions and Tabi'un. They came to find and search for those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman. The bulk of them came from Basra and Kufa. But when she came riding on her camel, a skirmish happened between this group that she came with and the group of Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was coming from Medina, who went to Kufa to stop them, to say, no, go back to where you are coming from. We will settle this matter, inshallah. While they were engaged in this, those same troublemakers responsible for the killing of Uthman killed people from both parties to make it appear as if both parties were at a war. May Allah protect us. So that is the day usually referred to as what? Yawmul Jamal. The day that Aisha was upon her Jamal, her camel, at Basra, when she came from Makkah to reconcile amongst the Muslims and ensure that those who were responsible for the death of Uthman bin Affan were apprehended. But that was against the view of Ali ibn Abi Talib, who had become the Khalifa at the time. I hope that this matter is clear to us. So that day that incident happened is usually referred to as what? Yawmul Jamal. So on Yawmul Jamal, this isnad mentions that Abdullah ibn Abbas said to Zubayr ibn Awam on the day of Jamal that هذه عائشة تملك الملك لقرابتها طلحة. هذه عائشة. This is Āishah. تملك الملك لقرابتها طلحة. She is preferring the overbearing position for somebody who was close to her, Talha. Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhuma said to Zubayr, this is Āishah. She is preferring the view of Talha to the view of Ali ibn Abi Talib. But you, Zubayr, you are closer to Ali ibn Abi Talib. So why are you preferring the view of Talha? Why are you preferring that view? I hope that it is clear. Ibn Abbas said, radiyallahu anhu, and هذه عائشة تملك الملك لقرابتها طلحة. This is Aisha. تملك الملك. She is given an overbearing position to the view of Talha. فأنت علامة تقاتل قريبك عليا. For you, Zubair, your Qarib, your relative, someone very close to you was Zubair. Why are you fighting Zubair? Why are you fighting Ali? Why are you disagreeing with the view of Ali? Faraja Zubair. So when Zubair heard that from Abdullah ibn Abbas, he left the place. فَلَكِيَهُ ibn Jurmuz فَقَتَلَهُ. Ibn Jurmuz, Amr ibn Jurmuz, met Zubair ibn Awam, and he killed Zubair ibn Awam. Amr ibn Jurmuz was amongst those troublemakers too. When Ibn Abbas said that to Zubair, that let's end this matter, let's leave this matter, let's not give preference to the view of Talha. Ali ibn Abi Talib is the Amir. It is his view that we should all agree to. So Zubair, radiyallahu anhu, heard what Ibn Abbas said, and he left the place. So as he was leaving the place, a man called Amr ibn Jurmuz, his name was Amr ibn Jurmuz. Here Imām Adh-Dhahabi only called him Ibn Jurmuz. Ibn Jurmuz saw Zubair leaving because they are the troublemakers. He went and he killed Zubair ibn Awam. In some reports, it said that Zubair was sleeping when he killed him. Zubair ibn Awam was sleeping when this man, and Ali ibn Abi Talib cursed this man. It was said that Amr ibn Jurmuz, this man, Ibn Jurmuz, who killed Zubair ibn Awam, Ali ibn Abi Talib said regarding him, Bashir Qatila ibn Safiya bin Nar, assure that man who killed the son of Safiya, because the mother of Zubair ibn Awam, her name is what? Safiya. So they used to refer to Zubair as what? Ibn Safiya. You know, sometimes we take different kinds of nicknames. So one of the names that Zubair ibn Awam became popular with was what? Ibn Safiya. So Ali ibn Abi Talib, this occurs in the Musnad of Al-Imam Ahmad. Ali ibn Abi Talib would say, Bashir Qatila ibn Safiya bin Nar. Guarantee that man, Amr ibn Jurmuz, who killed Zubair ibn Awam, guarantee him of Jahannam. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم يقول, because I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم said, إن لكل نبي حواريا وحواري الزبير. إن لكل نبي حواريا. Every prophet has a close ally, someone who believes in him, who trusts him, and who is close to him. You know, Isa alayhi salam had حواريون. إذ قال الحواريون يا عيسى ابن مريم أأنت قلت للناس لا يا عيسى ابن مريم هل يستطيع ربك أن ينزل علينا مائدة من السماء. I'm just trying to mention حواري to us. It's a word that's in the Quran. It means those who believe in what you are doing, who are always with you, who accept what you are doing. Ali ibn Abi Talib reported that hadith, that the Prophet said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, Inna li kulli nabiyyin hawariyan. Every prophet has someone who believes in him and absolutely trusts and follows him. Wa hawariya, the one who absolutely believes in me and trusts me and follows me is who? Zubair. So that was why Ali ibn Abi Talib said, Bashir biqatili ibn Safiyata bin Nar. Guarantee that man, Ibn Jurmuz, Amr ibn Jurmuz, who killed Zubayr ibn Awwam, tell him that he will go into Jahannam. Tell him that. And there was also a hadith reported also in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad that on that very day, Zubayr ibn Awwam told his son Abdullah ibn Zubayr that I fear that today is the day that what the Prophet said about me will come to pass. He said, what was it, O father, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said about you? He said, the Prophet had told me that I will be killed upon zulm. Zubayr ibn Awwam had said to his son that he remembers on that day something that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said to him. What was that? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam had said to Zubayr ibn Awwam that he will be killed upon zulm. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all. One of the scholars said that لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْأُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْأُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ إِذِ الْمَعْصُومُ مَنْ أَصَمَهُ اللَّهُ. Let us note this statement. لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْأُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ إِذِ الْمَعْصُومُ مَنْ أَصَمَهُ اللَّهُ. لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْأُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ. Those who are of perfect, noble character, they are al-kummal. So they say, Laysa kullu ma yaqa'u min al-kummal. Not everything that these kinds of people do, yakunu la'iqan bihim, will be appropriate to them. The perfect people, full of noble character, full of esteem. Sometimes they will do something, you say, this thing is not appropriate if you look at your status. Why? Evil ma'asum man asamahullah. Because the one who is free of any blemish is the one that actually frees from blemish. Al-ma'asum, the one who is free from blemish, is the one that Allah completely frees from blemish. Somebody may be of esteem. He will do 1, 2, 3 things. He himself will look back and say, I wish I never did this. Āishah radiallahu anha wished she never did it. Zubayr ibn Awwam wished he never took that position. Talha ibn Ubaydillah also wished never took that position. To insist that the killers of Uthman must be found out first. That insistence brought about all of these that we saw. That was how Zubayr was killed by Ibn Jurmuz. And Ali ibn Abi Talib would always say, Bashir Qatila ibn Safiyyata binar. Guarantee that man who killed the son of Safiya, tell him he will enter the fire. May Allah protect all of us. Qultu. Al-Imām Adh-Dhahabi said, Rahimahullah, that's on page 178. قد سقت وقعة الجمل. I have reported وقعة الجمل, the skirmish of Al-Jam. I have told us reportedly why that skirmish was called وقعة الجمل or يوم الجمل. وقعة الجمل or يوم الجمل, because of the Jamal of who? Āishah radiyallahu anha. He said, قد سقت وقعة الجمل ملخصة في مناقب علي. I have mentioned it in summary under the discussions about Ali ibn Abi Talib. وإن عليا وقع على خباء عائشة رضي الله عنها يلومها على مسيرها. After Zuhur, in the evening of that day of Jamal, Āishah radiallahu anha Ali ibn Abi Talib came to her. He was blaming her. Mu'minin, why did you come? Why did you come? You remember why she came? She came because she felt that if the people see her, they will know that it's not about a war. All we want is that those who are responsible for the killing of Uthman must be selected and brought out. Ali said, let us allow the city to be calm first. Let us allow the region to be calm. We will bring them out one after the other. So Ali ibn Abi Talib, after that incident that some of the Muslims now died, Ali now was blaming Āishah. Why did you come out? Radiyallahu anha. Yalumuha ala masirha. Ali was blaming Āishah for coming at all. فقالت, Āishah said, Ya ibn Abi Talib, O son of Abu Talib, malakta fa asjihu, you overrun us, you malakt, you became victorious. It became clear that your view was better than ours. Yes, it became clear that the view of Āishah radiyallahu anha and Zubair and Talha, they were upon an error. It was ijtihad they made, but they erred in that ijtihad. Radiyallahu anhu. The one who was right in his view was Ali ibn Abi Talib. So it is now clear that you have an overriding view over us. And then you are lenient in it. You know, some other leaders will say, kill all of them. You see, we are brothers. We had a view that this thing must happen. If not, then nothing. But you came, you said, no, all of you should go. And then you were honorable in it. Radiyallahu anhu. فَجَهَزَهَا إِلَى الْمَدِينَةِ. Ali ibn Abi Talib now prepared Āishah that she should return to Medina. Radiyallahu anha. وَأَعْطَاهَا 12,000 Ali ibn Abi Talib gave her 12,000 golden coins. Radiyallahu anhu wa anha. May Allah be pleased with Āishah. May Allah be pleased with Ali ibn Abi Talib. So Ali ibn Abi Talib returned Āishah. Radiyallahu anha. Al-Imam Ibn Kathir captured this in a bigger details in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya. He said, وَلَمَّا أَرَادَتْ أُمُّ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ عَائِشَةُ الْخُرُوجِ مِنَ الْبَصْرَةِ. When Āishah wanted to return, to leave Basra, بَعَثَ إِلَيْهَا عَلِيٌّ بِكُلِّ مَا يَنْبَغِي. Ali ibn Abi Talib brought everything that was necessary. You can go back to the map and see. This was going to be a long journey between Basra and Al-Madinah. Ali ibn Abi Talib ba'atha ilayha. She provided her بِكُلِّ مَا يَنْبَغِي, with everything that was necessary. مِنْ مَرْكَبٍ, in terms of the rights, وَزَادٍ, and things of maintenance, وَمَتَاعٍ غَيْرِ ذَلِكَ, and other things of enjoyment that will make the journey easy for her to return to Medina. وَأَذِنَ لِمَنْ نَجَى مِمَّنْ جَاءَ فِي الْجَيْشِ مَعَهَا أَنْ يَرْجِعَ إِلَّا أَنْ يُحِبَّ الْمَقَامِ إِلَّا أَنْ يُحِبَّ الْمُقَامِ. There were some who were soldiers too, who came along with Zubair and Talha and Āishah all the way from Mecca. They were said to be about 7,000. We can go and pick out those people in Basra. So Ali ibn Abi Talib adhina lahum. He gave them the permission from those who came. Yaman yuridu an yarja. Anybody who wants to go back to Makkah and Medina should go back. Or anyone who wants to remain with us here in Kufa should remain. Don't forget, that was how the Khalifa left Medina. That incident of Ali leaving Medina That was how the Khilafah left Medina. Otherwise, the headquarters of the Khilafah was in Medina. The Prophet passed away. Abu Bakr was in Medina. Abu Bakr passed away, radiallahu anhu. Umar was in Medina. Umar passed away, radiallahu anhu. Uthman was in Medina. And Uthman, Ali ibn Abi Talib was also in Medina until the day of Jamal, when he left Medina. And when he was going to leave Medina, Abdullah ibn Salam, radiallahu anhu, that Jew who accepted Islam, was a scholar amongst the Jews. He went to stay on the road. That Ali, don't go. If you go, this Khilafah will not come back here again. If you leave Medina, that's all. Don't go. Send people. Ali said, let me go. Āishah is there. Okay. If I go, I'll be able to respect her. I'll be able to. Then Ali left Medina and went to Kufa. That's all. So you could see some of these things happened. لِيَجْزِيَ اللَّهُ أَمْرًا كَانَ مَفْعُولًا. So the day Āishah was returning to Medina after Yawmul Jamal, Ali ibn Abi Talib provided her all she needed. And he gave the permission to those who came with her. If you want to go back, you can go back. If you want to remain in Kufa, you may remain in Kufa. وَاخْتَارَ لَهَا 40 امْرَأَةً مِنْ نِسَاءِ الْبَصْرَةِ الْمَعْرُوفَاتِ. Ali ibn Abi Talib selected 40 women from Basra who were well known to go in the company of Āishah. وَسَيَّرَ مَعَهَا أَخَاهَا Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr. He also commanded her brother Muhammad ibn Abi Bakr as-Siddiq, that is the Muhammad, the son of Asma bint Umays, to go in return with her. فَلَمَّا كَانَ الْيَوْمُ الَّذِي ارْتَحَلَتْ فِيهِ جَاءَ عَلِيٌّ. So on the day that she was actually going to leave Basra and return to Medina, Ali ibn Abi Talib came to that place. فَوَقَفَ عَلَى الْبَابِ وَحَضَرَ النَّاسِ. So he stood in front of the door, the city door of Basra, and the people were gathered. وَخَرَجَتْ مِنَ الدَّارِ فِي الْهَوْدَجِ. Āishah radiallahu anha came out of the home inside her hawdaj. You know the hawdaj? That place she enters. It means even in all of these, she was observing hijab. She was concealing herself. Radiallahu anha. فَوَدَّعَتِ النَّاسِ وَدَعَتْ لَهُمْ. So she bade the people farewell. وَدَعَتْ لَهُمْ. And she made a lot of dua for them. وَقَالَتْ يَا بَنِيَّ. Oh my children, لَا يَعْطِبْ بَعْضُنَا عَلَى بَعْضٍ. No group of us should be blaming the other group. إِنَّهُ وَاللَّهِ مَا كَانَ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ عَلِيٍّ فِي الْكِدَمِ إِلَّا مَا يَكُونُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْأَةِ وَأَحْمَائِهَا. What has happened between myself and Ali fil Kidam in the past? First of them in Qisatul Ifk. The second of them, these particular incidents. It is like the things that happen between a woman and the other women that she has around her. وَإِنَّهُ عَلَى مَعْتَبَةِ لَمِنَ الْأَخْيَارِ. And he, Ali ibn Abi Talib, he has a position to say to me that I was wrong in the matters that I was wrong, and he is a person of honor amongst the people, and he sees me as a person of. She was giving a statement to calm down the people. فقال Ali ibn Abi Talib. Then Ali ibn Abi Talib said, صدقت والله وما كان بيني وبينها إلا ذاك وإنها لزوجة نبيكم في الدنيا والآخرة. Ali said, radiyallahu anhu, there is nothing that has happened between myself and Āishah except between those things that happen between members of the same family, between maybe an aunt and the nephew, or the niece and the uncle. These are the kind of things that happen. You will see it one way, he will see it the other way. Why you still have a basic thing that connects all of you. So Ali said, radiyallahu anhu, sadaqat. Āishah radiyallahu anha has said the truth. ما كان بيني وبينها إلا ذاك. All what has happened between myself and her is just as she has said it. وإنها لزوجة نبيكم في الدنيا والآخرة. Āishah is the wife of your prophet in this world, the wife of your prophet in the hereafter, and so on. It's a long story. So that was how Āishah left. But she did not come to Medina straight that year. That year she went to Mecca straight. She remained in Mecca until the time of Hajj. She made Hajj and she returned to Medina. And that was all. She never went to anywhere else after that. I think until she passed away. She never left Medina. Radiallahu anha Āishah. Well, Imām Adh-Dhahabi went on to say, وفي صحيح البخاري, it also occurs in Sahih al-Bukhari من طريق أبي حفصين, from the isnad of Abu Hasim, عن عبيد الله ibn Ziyad, عن عمار ibn Yasir, سمعه على المنبر يقول. Ammar ibn Yasir was heard by Abdullah ibn Ziyad. Abdullah ibn Ziyad سمع Ammar ibn Yasir على المنبر يقول. He heard Ammar ibn Yasir saying upon the minbar that إنها لزوجة نبينا في الدنيا والآخرة, that Āishah is the wife of our messenger in this world and hereafter. That statement came when Ammar ibn Yasir and Hassan ibn Ali ibn Abi Talib came to meet Āishah and Talha. They were the first group of people who arrived before Ali came from Medina. You know, they had left from Makkah to Basra. Before Ali left Medina to Kufa and then Basra, he had sent Ammar ibn Yasir and Al-Hassan to address them. So during the address, Ammar ibn Yasir was still showing a lot of respect to Āishah radiyallahu anha. وفي لفظ ثابت أشهد بالله إنها لزوجته. I make Allah a witness. Āishah is the wife of your messenger in this world and in the hereafter. So despite all of that, they were sure that the respect for Āishah radiallahu anha was preserved. And despite the fact that it was clear to them that she erred like Zubair, like Talha, in that decision, that they would insist that what should happen first and foremost was that those who were responsible for the killing of Uthman, they should be picked out first before any other thing. That view was made known to be a weaker view. The view of Ali ibn Abi Talib is a stronger view. I think we can stop here today, inshallah. In another report, perhaps we can quickly read it so that we start from the next page in the next class. It said that Shu'batu anil Hakam an Abi Wahil Shaqiq ibn Salama Sami'a Ammaran Yaqul. Shaqiq ibn Salama heard, that is Abu Wa'il, he heard Ammar ibn Yasir saying that حين بعثه علي إلى الكوفة ليستنفر الناس, when Ali sent him to Kufa to mobilize the people to come and wait in front of the army of Āishah radiallahu anha, Ammar said to the people that inna la na'lamu innaha la zawjatun nabiyyi fi dunya wal akhirah. We know Āishah is the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in this world and the hereafter. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ ابْتَلَاكُمْ بِهَا, but Allah has tried you with her presence. Radiyallahu anha. In another report it says وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ ابْتَلَانَا بِهَا. Allah tried all of us with Āishah. لِيَعْلَمَ إِيَّاهُ نُطِيعُ أَوْ إِيَّاهَا, so that we will know, is it Āishah that we will follow or we will follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What is the following of Allah in this matter? The following of Allah is that obedience was due to the overall head. Who was who? Ali ibn Abi Talib. Many times we make mistakes during meetings and consultations with heads. You can only advise the heads. I think that this matter should be handled like this. I think that the matter should be handled like this. I think that the matter should be handled like this. That is the essence of the prophets of Allah saying in the Quran, وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Ask for their views regarding the matters. The prophet will ask, what do you think I should do? You, what do you think I should do? You, what do you think I should do? So people will send in their views to the ruler. As for the final decision, it lies with the ruler. That's what Allah says, وَإِذَا أَذَنْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. When you finally take a decision, depend on Allah. So people can advise government. They cannot insist on what government will do. This is inside Islam too. You can advise government, just like the positions of Talha, the position of Zubair ibn Awwam, the position of our mother Āishah, could have just come to Ali ibn Abi Talib as what? As an advice. But to insist that this, our advice, must be implemented, that's an error. So that's what Ammar ibn Yasir was saying, that وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ ابْتَلَانَا. Allah is trying us. He brought it as a trial for us. Ibtalana biha. Allah used her to bring a trial to us. لِيَعْلَمَ إِيَّاهُ نُطِيعُ أَوْ إِيَّاهَا. So that it will be clear. Is it Āishah who will follow or will follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So let us note this. This one happens a lot in our country. They will say it is democracy. Yet, the various channels of government will give advices to government. And some of the people will still be insisting that their views must be brought to action by government, especially those who will call themselves opposition. If the government did something good, they find faults in it. If the government made a mistake, they blossomed and fabricated those mistakes beyond the mistakes themselves, because they don't like that the government be seen in a good perspective. All of these are against our religion, Islam. People should advise government and allow those in government to take a decision. Fortunately, government is wider and deeper than what the people say. I tell you this. So you can advise government, but you should not insist that this is what government should do about every matter. That is why you have appointed them to be the leaders. So sometimes this was the error in the view of Āishah and the other companions. Radiallahu anhum. The ulama would say, لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْكُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ. It is not everything that a perfect person, a person of esteem does that will be consistent with that position. So why did Āishah do this? She herself felt that radiallahu anha, she should not have done what she did. Zubair also felt sorry. Talha also felt, I wish I did not do what I did. Ali ibn Abi Talib felt that it never even happened at all. Lakin Allah's preordainment took place. What they all hated at the end of the day finally happened. Between Salatul Fajr and Zuhr, it was a trouble that was created by the same people that the group of Talha and Zubair were searching for. They killed people from the group of Ali, they killed people from the group of Talha. So that it seemed as if the two groups were in a battle against themselves. So the big fitna. Ammar ibn Yasir called it Bala'un. It was a trial. May Allah forgive all of us. Forgive our righteous predecessors, companions, wives of the Prophet radiallahu anhu. Like I have repeated in this class today, لَيْسَ كُلُّ مَا يَقَعُ مِنَ الْكُمَّلِ يَكُونُ لَائِقًا بِهِمْ رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَأَرْضَاهُمْ. I think it will be sufficient to stop here today.
صلوات الله عليكم يا شيخنا.
آمين وإياكم.
Jazakumullah khairan.
I mean, the question here, وَلَمْ يُخْرِجُوهُ. He says, هذا حديث صحيح الإسناد. That's on page 178, the first line. هذا حديث صحيح الإسناد. That hadith, لا بالله أو أب. An authentic hadith. وَلَمْ يُخْرِجُوهُ. You know, if a hadith occurs in Bukhari, they will say, أخرجه البخاري. أخرجه مسلم. Like in here, he said, وَلَمْ يُخْرِجُوهُ. They have not repeatedly reported it. Meaning that the likes of Al-Bukhari did not report it. The likes of Al-Imam Muslim did not report it. But others reported it. Like Al-Imam Ahmad, he reported it in his Musnad. Imam Hakim, he reported it in his Mustadrak. And the Isnad is Sahih. So that's why they say, why? But the others too did not report it. Did not report it. It's also well known in the books of Tariq, the books of Islamic history, with asanid that are Sahihah. Allahu A'lam.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh.
Ameen. I hope that is clear about that question on وَلَمْ يُخْرِجُوهُ.
So another question says, is Amr ibn Jurmuz a Sahaba? And
He is not.
secondly,
Amr ibn Jurmuz was not amongst the Sahaba. You could see Ali ibn Abi Talib curse him. So Bashirhu billah, give him information that he will enter the fire. Who is that? Qatilu ibn Safiya, the one who killed the son of Safiya. Who is the son of Safiya I mentioned? Zubair ibn Awam. So Amr ibn Jurmuz was not a companion of the Prophet Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. Is this there? And up from Al-Imam Hakim and Al-Imam Ahmad in his Musnad. Ibn Hibban also reported the hadith of Kilabullah Aw Abd. It was reported by Ibn Hibban. Imam Ibn Abi Shayba also reported it. Rahimahumullah. Imām Adh-Dhahabi, Ibn Kathir. The books of Islamic history have reported it. And the Isnad is Sahih. Allahu Akbar.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh.
Ameen.
Another question says, what next step will he advise a memorizer of Quran to take? I mean, a female that concluded her memorization, what other books or classes will he recommend for her to study?
If she has memorized the Quran, the next job, if she has not been doing it, is to learn the books of Arabic language, al-Lugha, the books of Nahu, and books of Sarf. She should take it in 3 levels. The first level is the level of Al-Ajurrumiyya. She should memorize Matn al-Ajurrumiyya and learn the Sharh. Any of the Sharh, perhaps the Sharh of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, or the Sharh of Shaykh Muqbil al-Wadi'i, or the Sharh of Shaykh Abdul Karim al-Khudayri, or the Sharh of Shaykh Muhyiddin Abdul Hamid. That is most common at Tuhfatul Saniyah. So learn the Matn, learn the Sharh. This is the first level. The second level is you can pick a book like Qatrun Nada for Nahu, again the Matn by Ibn Hisham. The Matn of Qatrun Nada by Ibn Hisham. It is similar to Ajurumiyya, but it is bigger, more advanced than Al-Ajurumiyya and its content. You can study that. After you study the Matn of Qatrun Nada and you memorize it, you can pick any of the shuruh Ibn Hisham himself has a sharh, but that may be difficult for you. You may pick Ta'jilun Nada by Shaykh Abdullah ibn Salih al-Fawzan. Ta'jilun Nada, which is the sharh of Qatrun Nada, is very good and very easy to read and teach. So that is the second level. The third level in An-Nahwu is to study Al-Fiyah of Ibn Malik. You can memorize it and learn it. So that is for Nahwu. For Sarf, you can pick Mabadi Sarfiyah. That Mabadi Sarfiyah has, I think, volume 1 and 2. And then after you perfect that, you can pick Qawaid al-Sarf bi Uslub al-Asr or Nahwu and Sarf. This will help your grammar. Then I hope by memorizing the Quran you would have learned Tajweed. So if you learn Nahwu and Sarfu, you need to also learn 1 or 2 books of Aqidah. Learning it. I'm not saying merely reading it. Learning it. You can learn Aqidah to Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin. It's a very, very good book to start the learning of Aqidah. Aqidah to Ahli Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Shaykh ibn al-Uthaymin. After you perfect that, if you memorize it better, if not, just try to perfect it and know it very well. Then, in addition to that, you can pick Al-Aqidatul Wasatiyah by Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. You can pick the sharh of Shaykh Fawzan. It's a very, very easy sharh of that book. You can learn these 2 books. Inshallah, it will be sufficient for you on Aqidah. The third level to that is to now learn Al-Aqidatul Tahawiyah by Imām Adh-Dhahabi. So you'll always have the first level, the second level, and the third level, like I had mentioned for Nahwu, for Sarf, for Aqidah. Then you can pick along the 3 major sciences, also in 3 levels. The science of Hadith, Usul al-Hadith, or Ilmu Mustalah al-Hadith, or you can pick the Usul al-Fiqh too, and then Ulum al-Quran. These 3 sciences will come after those ones. They too, you pick them up, level 1, level 2, level 3. Should I go on mentioning for those ones too, level 1, 2, 3, for Mustalah al-Hadith, for Usul al-Fiqh, and for Ulum al-Quran? For Ilmu al-Hadith, you can start with Nukhbatul Fikr by Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar. Nukhbatul Fikr fi istilahi Ahli al-Athar. You memorize it and learn it as a matin. Then you go back to its sharh. Its sharh is Nuzhatun Nazar, also by Al-Hafiz Ibn Hajar. You learn the sharh properly. And after that, you can learn any of the 2 Alfiyah, Imma Alfiyatul Iraqi or Alfiyatul Suyuti. Any one of them that is easy for the person teaching you, even though I would prefer Alfiyatul Suyuti. That is for Ilm al-Hadith. For Usul al-Fiqh, you can pick the book of Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin, Al-Usul fi Ilm al-Usul. Al-Usul fi Ilm al-Usul. You can start with it. Then after that, you pick the book on Al-Qawaid al-Usuliyah, al-Fiqhiyah, by Shaykh Abdurrahman al-Sayyidi, the Shaykh of Shaykh ibn al-Uthaymin. You pick it, you perfect it. It will help you on the aspects of Al-Qawaid, Al-Fiqhiyah, and Al-Usuliyah together, inshallah. And then you can now come to study Al-Waraqat by Imam Al-Juwayni. You can also pick the Nazm too. Any of them. If you like, use the Nasr. If you like, use the Nazm. any of them. You can read the Sharh of Shaykh Ibn al-Uthaymeen for Al-Warqat. You can also read the Sharh of Shaykh Hafiz al-Hakami on Al-Warqat. They are very good, bi'idhnillah. So after you finish these two books, then you can come to bigger books on Usul al-Fiqh. As for Ulum al-Quran, you can start with a very good book, At-Tabsiratu fi Ulum al-Quran. It's a very, very good book for a beginning. It's a very, very good book to start with. And after that, you can come to that book by Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen, Usul al-Tafsir. You can come to Usul al-Tafsir by Sheikh Ibn al-Uthaymeen. Then after that, you can read a book like Al-Qawaid al-Hisan by Shaykh Abdur-Rahman al-Sa'idi. It also has a sharh by Shaykh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymeen. You have about 5 years to cross these books. By the time you end this book, you should be ready to study Sahih al-Bukhari or Umdatul Ahkam. You can start with Umdatul Ahkam or you can start with Al-Arba'un. But I wish you would have studied Arba'un earlier. So after Arba'un, you study Umdatul Ahkam. After Umdatul Ahkam, you can come to Bulugh al-Maram. After Bulugh al-Maram, you can take any of two ways. Either you go and study Bukhari as a book, Sahih al-Bukhari, and then Sahih al-Muslim. Or you pick a book like Al-Jamu Bayna As-Sahihain by Imām Abd-Al-Haq al-Ishbili. So you study Sahih al-Bukhari, study Sahih Muslim. That is after Arba'un, Umda, and Bulugh. Then you can come to Al-Jamu Bayna As-Sahihain. You have, for all of these, another 3 years. If your studying is active and with a good teacher, inshallah, by the time you spend these 8 or 9 years, bismillah, a lot of knowledge would have gathered around you. So as you study those books of hadith, you can also pick a book of tafsir. That you can start with your teacher from Surah Al-Fatiha. You'll be reading and he'll be explaining to you. You can pick Tafsir Ibn Kathir, one after the other. Although if the teacher is good in Lugha but is weak in the science of Hadith, he may not be able to teach you a book like Tafsir Ibn Kathir. So, but all of those things that we had mentioned previously will be useful, inshallah. I hope that we can stop here, Abū Abdur-Raūf.
Jazakumullah khair, ya Shaykh.
So when the person finishes, he will know that he has achieved some good knowledge, inshallah, with which he can benefit others.
Barakallahu fikum, ya Shaykh.
Fikum barakallah. Can we call it a day here, inshallah?
Yes, ya Shaykh.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.